What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning. Nice and early. I cannot believe this many people are actually awake. Hold on. I got to get this fucking thing off. I will be editing or my wife already edited the timing that we're going to start. So I hope there was no confusion, but it doesn't seem like there was. What's up? Let's see who we got. Beeman, you're on the West Coast. Oh yeah. You're a Suns fan. Strange. 6 a.m. on the West Coast. Love that. Ramble. What's good? I got Royal and MJ already up and early with me. Good morning, fellas. How are we?
Hey, what's going on, dude?
Is this early for you guys? I mean, I know you're in your later 20s, you're not like 22, but do you wake up regularly on the weekends around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard?
DJ, you know me, man. I'm a grinder when it comes to football and basketball season.
Well, I do know you're a grinder, but you could, I mean, young kids stay up late, so you could also do your lab work.
I do stay up late too. Honestly, I don't get a lot of sleep. I don't get as much sleep as I should. Last night it was probably around 5.5 hours. I can't lie.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm at too. Royal, you seem like an early morning guy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am. That internal clock, man, there's just no fixing it. So,
yeah, you got to have fun at night too, right?
I've gotten to the point now where I'm like going to bed at 9:30, 10, and I'm waking up. My alarm is at 5:45 in the morning, and I'm waking up at like 4:55, and I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, I'm also sleeping on my buddy's couch in Tampa, so I'm making things happen, whatever means possible.
Oh, you're in Tampa right now?
Yeah, I'm in Tampa. I'm going to the Bucks game actually.
That was going to be my next question. Did you didn't go to the USF Miami?
I really wanted to. I didn't. I thought it was in Hard Rock the whole time. I was just misinformed. Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, it was pretty rowdy.
I didn't really want to go back to back. We've had these tickets for a while. It's going to be 50-yard line. I think like 16th row. It's the best seats I've ever sat at for an NFL game. So
50-yard line, 16th row. Actually, as somebody who's been to a ton of sporting events, I can tell you that there is some people always like Steak does this. He wants to be up close at NFL games. This works at NHL. Well, it works at NBA, but I've sat, I think, row 3 before in the corner of the end zone. I actually prefer it if you're a couple rows up.
You could get a chance, a guy running up with a celly, giving you more of a.
Well, no, but you can see more of the field.
Yeah.
In the end zone, you can?
No, saying 3 seats back.
You should
Oh,
be
rows
higher
back.
up. Yeah, you
I
would think
see.
if you're buying tickets like, oh, you're whatever you are, 50-yard line, whatever. If you're like row 2, row 3, you're like, these seats are sick. And don't get me wrong, they are.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would actually prefer to be like rows, whatever you are, 16 to like 27, because
I'm
you get
with
a
you
better.
with hockey
See
too.
everything.
I think hockey nosebleeds are some of the best nosebleeds in sports.
It's so funny you say that because I'm like a big, like, I like to be down by the ice guy and like hear the fucking skate,
I
but when
haven't been up close, so I guess I'm biased in
I
that
did
sense.
it. I did it at in a Boston game, Boston and Canucks. I was like center ice, row 2. It was awesome when there was a fight, but when the puck is in the boards, you can't see shit. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
when I actually prefer to be like again, like row 27 or something.
yeah.
All right.
What about
Anyways,
banging
guys,
on the glass all game though?
I've never done that. That would be fucking awesome. It's kind of like that's a bucket list thing. Larry Beeman sub bang
I was
18
about to
months.
say I'm gonna give
Appreciate
some
you.
subs out to chat before we
Yeah,
get started.
guys, thank you for coming on. I'm sure as we talked about and appreciate the 5 sub banks that just went out. Chaco, good morning to you. Jet Brosev, Crezo, kicks for Boogie. Jay Clyde, kicks for Boogie, long timer. So you guys run. I don't know your weekly schedule. Do you run streams during the week?
Dude, it's tough because me and Royal have like committed 8 to 5 jobs, and some days are just tougher than others. We try to do like Monday and Thursday for the primetime games,
Yep.
but come in NBA, it's going to be more consistent during the week. Obviously, the Saturday and Sunday streams are like what we focus on the most, so that's kind of been our focal point.
Yeah, well,
I think this season.
you guys do a great job. I mean, I'm sure
you.
we share a lot of the same followers, and I'm sure that I don't have to necessarily introduce you to a lot of people on the stream. But in case anybody is in here and unfamiliar with MJ or Royal, they run Ramble, which I don't know. You don't have it in any of your handles, do you? No.
Oh, I have it in my bio if you want, if there's a link for it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure to give them a follow. And then you guys, so we were doing, I reached out to you because we were doing the NFL morning streams, and you guys do a great job. And also your Saturday streams are awesome. I know you've had Steak on a few times,
Yeah.
but it was brought to my attention last week. A couple people were commenting like, oh, it's a struggle going back and forth. And I was like, I think it might make the most sense since we share some of the same following to not overlap and kind of make it a conflict for people to view. So I'm happy to go earlier. I can't go later since I'm corp on.
Works out for me too, DJ, because Jeff and Beeve hate getting up. So.
I mean, I figured, like I said, you two seem like the morning guys. Jeff and Beeve, I don't know what, I can't even imagine what time.
This train would be off the rails if it wasn't for me and Royal. Let's just say that.
Well,
Beeve's
I feel like
he's an hour behind. I do give him credit. Yeah, I give him credit for that. Jeff on the other end.
Oh yeah, Jeff is a Northeastern guy. Yeah, he's got no excuses. The degenerate train would not necessarily be off the rails, but the train would not leave the station if just Greg and Steak were in charge.
Congrats on the newsletter too, man. I've been subscribed for a while, and I've seen the success of college football. I think it's awesome because the conversations we've had together and with Steak, it just seems like we've been reading college football really well. So just want to give you your flowers on that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys and you guys do a great job too. Again, I always I feel like I try to bring some experience. Well, Steak does too, but from things we've learned and gathered. But I give a lot of credit to the young guys in this community that are able to kind of, whatever you want to call it, like read the lines more so than the teams, because it tells a story rather than just say, oh, team A is better than team B. And you guys deserve a lot of credit because I don't know how new you are to gambling. But that's another thing too. A lot of people that kind of come into the space, you realize, oh, they've only been gambling like 2 or 3 years. That's fucking crazy to me because you don't really learn anything till about 5 or 6 years of getting your dick kicked in till like you start to realize, oh, maybe I should think a little bit differently about things. But to be young and to learn on the fly, give people a lot of credit. But I think your read yesterday was fantastic. I don't know why I didn't tell, by the way. I was like, let me keep it tight. I had the 5 plays.
Let's be honest though. You molded the whole craft. You don't give yourself enough kudos for you put me and Royal under your wing, brother.
Well, yes and no, but I didn't necessarily say like, hey guys, you should do what I do. It's kind of your decision to take what people say, and you can I guess work that into your own, because you don't just mimic me. You guys are your own.
Y'all have a hand in it though. I don't think me and Royal would be thinking the way we think without you and Steak. I don't.
I think that's cool. And thank you. I think that I take that as a compliment. Obviously, it doesn't always work out. I mean, and I tell people all the time, you know, even though I've been gambling for 19 years, it only matters what I've done since people have followed me and since I've been tracking my bets on Action Network for like 2.5 years. And earlier this season, I was getting my nuts kicked in from like January to June.
But here's the thing too, like people on the timeline get caught up too much. It's like it feels like a competition sometimes between, you know, cappers on it's not who's the better capper, really. It's more about the conversation for me.
Exactly. But a lot of people don't get that. And that's why I like you guys. That's why I was you know, I'm more than willing to fucking support and I'm glad.
Yeah, everyone loves the collabs between us, man. It's great.
Yeah, I think that there is definitely like there's something to really appreciate, because it's not a common thing for people in this space to not take themselves too seriously. Yep. You know, and you realize, like, even though you have a really good day and you're going to win bets, like, you always want to keep yourself humble, because there's going to be those days you get your dick kicked in. For sure. And then you don't want to look like an asshole and then have to go into fucking hiding and go into MIA.
Roll's the most humble guy I know when it comes to betting. He's like, dude, I don't ever want to tweet about my streaks, bro. People don't want to see them. I'm like, dude,
I was superstitious. No. I was superstitious.
You got to milk it on social media, man. But
I was superstitious.
That is the worst thing, though. That is the worst thing. I will tell you, I've learned. You guys have mastered this craft, I think, in terms of like how to engage and work social media. You do a really, really good job. MJ, like your pictures, when you post your plays, I think you were kind of the first one that I realized started doing that. Royal, your write-ups are awesome. I think that I think there's definitely like an art to it of getting that engagement and whatnot. So yeah, but I realized the best way to grow a following are winners. Like, people fucking love winners. And dude, I swear, as soon as you tout your winning streak, for example,
thank you. That's what I'm saying.
December of last year, I had a 40-15 college basketball run. What do you think happened as soon as I tweet that? I followed up going 6-22. It was unbelievable. So anyways, that's I guess, you know, I like to shoot the shit and whatnot until people kind of roll in. So I guess we can get started because it's almost 9:15. But again, I just wanted to get people kind of more familiar and introduce Ramble and whatnot. So you guys will be running your NFL stream after this, and I'm sure you're tech savvy, so you can figure out how to get it going. We'll just raid and go over there. But yeah, I'm happy to have you on. And I realize I don't think I've had you on before, which is kind of crazy to think about. What does your hat say, by the way?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, that's a lot. I thought it was like a Washington Commander hat at first.
No, it's just an artsy New York hat. You wouldn't like it.
I wouldn't get it. I've only lived here for 11 years, bro. I know
it says like art and health and wealth development. It doesn't make any sense. It's just
okay. All right. W artsy. All right. So actually, before I get into the board, I am someone that the whole reason I started the board review is I wanted to get like my first look at going through the games, first reaction, thoughts, etc., and throwing it out there. So obviously, with the CLV mob on my ass, I've been trying to do a little bit better of a job about getting a head start, looking and trying to get good numbers throughout the week. But when it comes to player props, and this is where you guys might differ from me, which is fine. I really sit and think and let these games like marinate in my brain. When I go on runs, my hot guy walks, go to my saunas, whatever, walk my dog, I'm like thinking about how the game can go and the game script. And I let these players come to me. Now, I used to have some pretty good success hitting these props, but last year there was just something switched and it was just all downhill. So my props have not been very good. This year, the reads and the plays have been much better. Obviously, it's very young into the season, but I have been nervous to press these straight bet buttons on player props. And I'll give you an example. This is how it's been working for me lately. Week 1, touchdown scores. Love Zach Moss, love Justin Jefferson, love James Cook. Who's the guy I bet? James Cook. Yeah. He is the only one that didn't score. What did he do the next game? He scored 3 fucking times. That is kind of how it's felt.
Am I reading this back right? So are you looking into the game? You're picking somewhat of a side, or you like the overs in a sense, and then going to a player and finding what you like? That's what Royal does for tackles and assists, if I'm not mistaken.
That is exactly what I do. Yeah, and shout out to the tackles and assists.
I wanted to say, DJ, I need you to get in on those. I feel like you would love those.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've already gotten off to a pretty bad start on the tackles and assists because I've been doing, obviously, we all use Underdog, and I had one of my entries from this. on the Ravens Chiefs game, and I think I went 3 for 4, and the only one I didn't hit was a fucking Roquan Smith over 5.5 tackles and assists, and he ended at like 4 or something. Quinnen Williams, I had over 3.5. I think he ended at 3. So they've really for and I play defense. I love that shit.
That's exactly where it happened for me.
I have I like sack props. And I have a guy already on my mind that's kind of square. But anyways, I think you guys really probably think about this stuff and do more digging and like maybe look into the stats and the data and shit like that. So before we get into the games, which I like to go through one by one and get your thoughts on, Royal, we can start with you. Do you have any like best bets coming into this weekend? And if you don't, that's totally fine as well.
I do, but unfortunately it's for tomorrow. That's what sucks.
I don't know that that's too unfortunate, unless you'd rather just wait until tomorrow. If you're going to do a stream, then that's fine.
No, I was just saying my favorite prop I found it on Wednesday or Thursday. And I was just like, I'd rather be on Sunday. I want to see the result quicker.
Yeah.
I do have one I really like. It was actually the one you commented on, Lamar rushing yards.
I did comment on that. I think that's going to be a very good read. Go on.
Yeah. So essentially, they're 0-2. Cowboys coming off a terrible loss. I think this game kind of soars. I think we see both teams at their best. It's two good defenses on paper. We know how that usually goes. We have a total sitting around 50.
Yep.
And Baltimore, MJ really, I got to give MJ some credit here because he was on the Ravens hate train all off season. And
I told him too.
Yeah. I told him to tap the brakes a little because I was like, if there's one team that rebuilds better than anybody, it's the Ravens. They're the Celtics of the NBA. They're always good. No matter who's there, they're going to succeed. But that O-line is an issue, like you mentioned. And Dallas, what they can do is rush the QB. And you got an 0-2 Ravens, 0-2 Lamar. He's got to put the team on his back and make some plays. I think it's with his feet.
I love it. I like it a lot from the standpoint. And part of the reason I have a John Harbaugh. I was getting confused. First coach fired ticket, which is not going to hit. It's not going to hit. But my boldest prediction was Harbaugh hot seat this year. That O-line is a problem. And I think Lamar is going to be going. And I don't know, for some reason, maybe the passing, like the decision making, is not quite there on the road as much. So I love the look with his legs. I also have another quarterback rushing that we'll get to later.
I have another play in this game. Actually, it's one of my favorite props. Is actually in this game. It's on the.
Let's pull this game up because I have a prop that I love as well. But continue.
Do you want to? I don't think you're going to be able to guess with the hoodie I'm wearing right now. I don't think you'll be able to guess. Bro, what are you going to say? Something?
Well, I was going to say, I want to clear. I see a lot of chats here saying that Lamar plays today. That was my favorite prop for today.
Right. Yeah, I figured.
I just want to clarify that. Yeah. I don't really care. It's no secret. It's already in my thing. It's ETN receiving yards. So we can get into that like at the end if you want. But
okay.
Lamar is my favorite prop for today. ETN is my favorite prop of the weekend.
Okay.
Just want to clear that up.
MJ, what is your prop in this game? And I'll tell you what mine is.
I think it's funny that Dak Prescott's passing touchdowns is juiced to the over 1.5 when he's went under his first 2 games and he's playing a Ravens defense where people think their secondary is elite. And I think the contrary. I think Dak throws for 2 passing touchdowns today. He got gypped last week on a CD touchdown. I think he got taken away with a flag. I don't know why it's juiced to the over. You could say it's Dak Prescott, but it's against the Ravens. And I'm going to take an opportunity to buy low with Dak. Getting 2 in the first 2 weeks, I think this is just good buy low spot with Dak and a good passing attack with Cowboys. I lean the Cowboys on the money line. I think it's a situation where no way Ravens start 0-3. And I like Dak to sling 2 today. It's really as simple as that.
I love it. My bet in this game would have been Dak, and it would have been completions. I think this is a Dak Prescott. I actually think both quarterbacks put the teams on their back, but I think that Dak Prescott, kind of like what I've watched him against the Browns, and I had the Cowboys in that game. We did not have a side in week 2 against the Saints. That was just a weird. We had an under that lost in the first half. That was just a weird game for the Cowboys. I like them to bounce back at home, and I know, like you said, the Ravens desperate spot. I'm always scared to fade teams in a desperate spot, and I do think there's a trend that supports an 0-2 team in week 3 going against a 1-1 team. But I don't care. I'm going to lean into the Harbaugh hot seat and the Ravens struggle bus. I like the Cowboys to bounce back, and I think Dak plays just a really poised, complete, limit the mistakes kind of game, and I think they manage the clock. I think they're. Go ahead.
Are we forgetting how good the Cowboys are at home? Like, and they're
regular
coming off
season.
a home loss. Like, it's not rocket science for me here. It's versus the Ravens. This line makes sense in terms of the situation they're in and an obvious bounce back spot, like you said, DJ. This is the perfect line for Vegas to take tickets on the Ravens money line. Like, it's the perfect line.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
heard
it's weird at all.
we have so we're in the Circa Millions, me, Steak, and Greg. We're off to a pretty good start, knock on wood. But I listened to, so on VSiN, you can listen to the podcast version of the segments, and they go through everybody's picks in not in the millions, but in a different contest. And then the millions tweet out what a popular play is. In the Circa Invitational contest, the Ravens were a very, very popular bet. Really.
I'm not shocked at all.
They were a very popular bet. You know what one guy said, which I find this so interesting? He was like, oh, if you made the Ravens a dog, so if this line was Cowboys -1, Vegas would have written nothing but Ravens tickets because you're getting them at plus price, with the point and a plus price. I'm still not buying that all of a sudden.
I'm not either,
because the Ravens are -1 as opposed to +1. It's like it's not that much of a payout. It's not that much of more insurance to get them with a point or laying a point. It's essentially saying who the fuck's going to win the game. And I think that your average person is going to say the Ravens are going to win this game because the Ravens are not starting 0-1. I really think there's some trouble with this offensive line, and I think that is a terrible spot for them to play the Cowboys after such a pathetic, embarrassing performance at home. So I'm with you. I think it's a Dak Prescott game, and I do think Lamar is going to be running for his life. So I don't want to sit here and just kiss each other's ass and fluff each other up with every bet. But I really do align with you guys on that. So Dak, you're on the passing touchdowns. I was going to be on completions. He is at 24.5. Because I also don't think, like, somebody asked CD over everything. I don't know. Like, I don't know that there's going to be a lot of deep shots in this game. I think they're going to want to move the ball like methodically and really keep the clock ticking.
I think Ferguson is going to be fully healthy for the first time.
Did he play last week?
I don't know. I think he was limited. I don't think he fully played.
Shot or whatever his name
is. Did he get any snaps last week?
I don't think so.
21 versus NFC teams. Yeah, that is pretty fucking crazy. Just want to make it clear. I respect Lamar Jackson. I really do. The guy's a fucking gamer. I'm on the attempts. No, he didn't play. Okay. Yeah. I'm Dak Masterclass. He is one of my Masterclass candidates. So W's. I'm glad we align. All right, MJ, let's go to the game that you're going to today and my Bucks. So if people don't already know, I am a Bucks fan. So they're -6 at home against the Denver Broncos, total at 41. I'm just going to set the stage like this, and then I'll let you talk, and then Royal will go to you, and I'll finish it up. The Bucks are probably going to be one of, if not the most popular survivor play this week. And we've seen the most popular survivor play go down in weeks 1 and 2 with the Bengals, then the Ravens.
Victim.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, I took the Lions last week, so that's kind of right there with it. I'm not totally confident that this trend continues and the Bucks go down. I don't even know that Bo Nix is that bad, but I think Sean Payton is just a really, really bad head coach. I know they grinded their dick off and they had a terrible start to the season with who they played at Seattle and then the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. I'm just not that sure it gets much easier in Tampa against a Todd Bowles defense and a Baker Mayfield who's a fucking dog. So that's all I'll say about that. I won't take up too much of the talking points. MJ, do you have any thoughts on this game? It's kind of nasty. Total's at 41 though. I think it's a little high.
I almost put 2U on a prop in this game. I have one.
Jeez.
I love Rachaad White rushing yards today, dude. I love his rushing yards today. I mean, look at his game log, bro. People are slurping Bucky Irving, rightfully so. This guy's probably going to be a solid talent in the NFL as long as he stays healthy. But Rachaad White's getting the carries, and he just hasn't been producing. And against this Broncos defense, traveling, like, it just seems like a field day for Rachaad White and a possible ladder opportunity. I mean, this defense sucks. I mean, look at who they've played so far, and look at the running backs. Even Najee was able to get 70 yards, Kenneth with a 100+ game. I think Rachaad White finds the end zone. I like his rushing yards. I think they just keep it simple on the ground, play possession football. They're not going to have to go too crazy on offense like the Bucs are normally used to doing these first 2 weeks against the Denver Broncos. At least that's what the game script is telling me. The total is interesting, 41. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to think. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I think Tampa Bay keeps it on the ground more so than they did the first 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And Rachaad White has a great opportunity to get yards and a touchdown possibly. So
Royal?
Yeah,
Anything to follow up?
I'm kind of in the same boat. We were both going to be on Rashad. I mean, he's playing for his role on paper. I don't know if you watched Week 1 versus the Commanders, but whenever Rashad got the ball, there was a guy in his face. Whenever Bucky Irving got the ball, you can drive 2 tractor trailers through the hole. So he looks better on paper, but to me, Rashad, it's his job.
You look at the box score, you want to take Bucky Irving.
You want to take Bucky Irving, right?
If you watch the
But to
game,
me, it's like Rashad's young too. Like Bucky Irving's just not going to come in and take over the role week 3. So to me, Rashad gets going. They get close to 20 plus carries, if not more. But I will say, the total is interesting as well because the Broncos. I mean, look who they've played: Seahawks, nasty defense; Steelers, arguably the best defense in the league. It does not get any easier with the Bucs, like you mentioned. And what does Todd Bowles like to do? He likes to blitz a lot, and that gives rookie QBs a lot of trouble just because they're not used to it yet. So I don't know. I don't really see how they find that much success here, but I think you're right. Like the Bucs feel very easy. I don't know if they lose, but I don't know if they cover because I think their defense is better than given credit for. But it's
the only thing I will say, if I'm playing devil's advocate with myself and want to take a Broncos ticket, is look who the Bucs play the following week. Divisional opponent against the Eagles. That's the only thing I could really get behind with the Broncos. The line's been moving towards the Broncos. I don't know how much stock we want to put in it. That hasn't really been a profitable way to bet this NFL season is chase steam. We know how dogs have been doing 6+. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, I cannot press a button in here on a side, even if I wasn't a fan. I don't think the Bucs are losing this game. I think you guys. It's kind of funny. I'm going to bring this up real quick. So when I was just in Florida, my mom or my stepdad, he likes to wager, so he downloaded Underdog, and I told him I gave him an entry of all the guys that I liked before I left, and look who's on there on the third one. Can you see it?
That's how we should play it, honestly. We should go touchdown, I think.
Rashad White's getting in the fucking end zone today.
I agree.
No, I like to look with the rushing yards too. I mean, Rashad is a guy that I thought he looked great towards the end of the year last year. Yeah. And I wanted to buy a lot of Rashad White stock. Thought about like sneaky, rushing season-long props. I took him on my fantasy team. But then I started to scale back because I do think that had a lot to do with Canales as the offensive coordinator because he really wanted to get that running game going. Since he wasn't there, I kind of cooled off a little bit. But Rashad White has had a pretty bleh start to the season. Bucky Irving's getting a lot of hype. And Bucky Irving's a dog. I liked him in Oregon, too. You guys are probably more familiar with him than I am. I like this one, too. This could very well be a Rashad White coming out party.
I think so.
So I like where your head's at. I like what you're saying. And also, MJ, you bring up a good point about the Bucs. It is a really bad scheduling spot. Here's the one thing I have said, and I'm going to stay true to this. Baker, I've talked about this. He is all in on Tampa. He said on the Pardon My Take interview, he's selling his house in Texas, which if you guys are familiar with Primer, these Texas guys, they love Texas.
Love it.
Texas people love Texas. He's a Texas guy. He went to Oklahoma, obviously. He's selling his house. He's all in full-time in Florida. I think now that he got paid, now that Tampa, the city and everything, and even guys like me who wanted us to suck and get a high draft pick and draft a quarterback are all in. I think every time he plays in front of the home fans, he's going to play his dick off. And I don't want to fade
revenge tour.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. It's a fucking Baker revenge tour. And I don't want to get in front of it. And so I even if I was unbiased, like I just think there's something there with Baker. But if you are fading the Bucs, I think you're fading them off that high of beating the Lions and before they're playing the Eagles in a big I don't want to say redemption or revenge because the Bucs beat the Eagles. Go ahead. You about to say something?
And wouldn't it be funny if it's set up Bucs easily cover today, Eagles lose in an obvious bounce back spot, and the Eagles come into Tampa and beat them in a revenge narrative from last year's playoffs? Wouldn't that be funny if it worked out that way?
Yes, although I'm starting to lean Eagles today, which is so weird. They're playing back-to-back road games against the South. But we'll get to that game. Okay, so I think we can all agree that we like Rashad White. You like rushing yards. I like end zone. He's probably going to be in a touchdown parlay of mine. All right, so let's move on to the next game. We've got the Vikings and the Texans. I think this is a really interesting game.
too.
I'm totally cool with people. Shout out Shady Beeve. I know he's a big Minnesota guy. I'm totally cool with people getting there with the Vikings. I like the Vikings last year. I had them over 8.5 wins. A lot of people were down on them. There was that big trend going on. Oh, they won so many close games. You fade that. I know it worked out, but let's be honest. Kirk Cousins was playing very well. If he didn't get hurt, I think people would have been sweating that under ticket. Flores is a mastermind with these defenses. He's doing a phenomenal job. Here's the problem. The problem is I think CJ Stroud is that fucking dude. And I think CJ Stroud is probably, given how mobile he is, and he's been so, like, his IQ is off the charts for a young quarterback. I think he's going to play. He is in my masterclass candidate list as well. I think he's going to play a fantastic game today. I think he's going to kind of along the lines of like Lamar Jackson, except not necessarily just carrying it and going off with his legs. I think he just rolls out. He avoids the sacks and he finds his guys downfield. I like his passing yards. I don't even know what they're at. I guess I'm kind of an asshole for not pulling that up. But I like CJ Stroud over passing yards today. I thought this total was a little high at 46.5. I know there's an argument to be made there because the defense has been so good, and that's fine. I understand that. I would square up with the Texans. I think this is going to be like a 34-24 game. Stroud passing yards is 265.5. I like the over there. Stephon Diggs, I said revenge game earlier in a tweet. Somebody pointed out he's already played against the Vikings. You can't have more than one revenge game. Fair. I concede no revenge game for Stephon Diggs. I don't like anybody really on the Vikings, so I am a CJ Stroud yards guy. Do you all have anything in this Texans Vikings?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And this could be a hot take, but to me, if we're talking QBs, I'm putting Stroud number 2, and I'm a Bears fan.
Like today you're putting him number 2? Okay.
Yes. I mean, he has everything, like you said. The IQ is something that jumps out to me. And granted, I mean, it's very easy for him, right, with that system and play calling and talent, but he gets it done. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you. You mentioned Flores. The reason why that defense is so good is just it's just unique. They blitz a lot. They get a lot of pressure. They kind of disguise a lot. They play a lot of man coverage, and I like the Texans to kind of win those. And Tank Dell's had a really weird start. He's been open, but he's dropped a few things, hasn't had a lot of success. So I'm with you. I would take Stroud, but I'm actually taking a tackles and assist props. Oh, I did forget about Josh Allen. I'm sorry. I forgot about Josh Allen, putting CJ at 3. Yes. Viking safety Cam Bynum over 6.5 tackles really goes against everything I look for in a sense. Like normally if I'm taking a safety, I want them to play in the box, which is where the linebackers play. But this guy he cleans up everything. He gets 7-8 tackles most games. I don't think their blitz is going to get home, meaning there's going to be a lot of man coverage where the Texans win and he's there to clean up. He also is just really good in the run game. I also don't trust Cam Akers to be like this bell cow. So I think they're going to dump it off to him more and use Schultz more and air it out, which is good for his safety. So I like him a lot. Yeah, redemption pick.
That is very cheeky.
You guys are gonna hate what I'm gonna say. Jeez.
I will say though, before I move on, the Vikings aren't a fluke, by the way. Vikings are not a fluke. Kevin O'Connell is a very good coach. And again, I mentioned a Bears fan. Like I hate the Vikings, but this guy, no matter who's playing QB, his system works. As long as you have Jefferson, as long as you have a QB that can throw, it works. So their coach is very good, and this team is no joke, to be fair.
Totally agree. MJ, what do you have that everybody's going to hate?
I'm on the complete, like everything you said, DJ. I'm low-key on the opposite. I'm on
good. I like to disagree.
I'm on Darnold pass completions, man. I think it's high as fuck. I mean, you look at his pass completions and you look at his pass attempts. I mean, he hasn't gone over this line in, you could say, years. Like he's at 21.5 completions. And this line to me is a ton of respect for the Texans. Not to mention, y'all remember the Texans last year on the road. This is a team that lost to Atlanta, lost to Carolina, lost to the Jets towards the end of the season. I mean, like, this is a spot where the Texans haven't shown that they've been this dominant force that everyone thinks that they are. I know they are a great team, but I'm going to take an opportunity on the road with the Vikings having all the confidence in the world. If I'm in that Vikings locker room right now, I think I'm unstoppable. And I don't think this is the spot for the Houston Texans to really have this masterclass showing. And if they do, Darnold's going to be throwing the ball in a trailing game script. I really like his pass completions today.
I do like points in this game, and I will say because of that primetime game, how good did Houston's defense look? And I promise you, they got a lot of talent, but they are not that good. Our line, it was just a mess. It was a joke. They're not almost sacking the QB every single play. So I think that's going to play a factor here. Everyone thinks the Texans defense is like the Avengers put together right now because of that game. And I think there's points in this one because I think the Texans get rolling too.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought about we in the newsletter we try to put a total in there and either an under or an over, and we ended up going with the Bears Colts, which we'll talk about later. But the first total that stood out to me when I looked at the board was I thought the 46 was a little high, 46 and a half. And I know if you look at the offenses and the Vikings scoring 28-23, I still think the talk is the Texans Bears just played a game with 32 points. The defenses look great, and the Vikings defense has been awesome. Just thought it looked a little bit higher. I love the completions look, and again, because of that game script, I think it's because the Vikings will have to abandon the run kind of early in the game, and I think that Darnold's going to be playing well. And I think Darnold is a guy that I backed him right out of the gate. He was my masterclass candidate. I had Sam Darnold most passing yards in week 1 and against the fucking Giants. And he started the game like 14 for 14.
Yeah,
he's a dude that can play. I was going to look at him for comeback player of the year. I don't know if you guys bet on any player awards, but I followed the guidance of these smart people, and they said don't do that because they changed the rules for the award, and it's a player that has to be coming off of an injury. So that's why I went J.K. Dobbins instead, which I'm not upset with. But if Sam Darnold continues to play his dick off and the Vikings go like 10-7 or something, I'm worried that they might be like, well, you know what? We'll just give him the fucking trophy.
Gino won it the same thing, right? He wasn't injured.
No.
I think he won it, right? I mean, it's the same
He
thing.
did. He won it 2 years ago, which I'm okay with.
Right. He deserved it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because they were like, I guess Joe Flacco caused some controversy with the way he won the award. I mean, I guess maybe because he didn't have like a bigger sample size. There's an argument to be made for it, but whatever. We don't have to spend too much time on that. Big Darnold guy, like that, like the look. And I agree with you guys in terms of some points being scored. Here's an ugly game. I don't really have a thought on a side or a total. I do have a touchdown score though. Chargers Steelers. I mean, I don't know if Herbert's playing. I think he's probably going to play. There's some talk about like a high ankle sprain or something. But even if he doesn't, I mean, this is probably even if he does, it's probably the most obvious under on the board, I would think. And you know what? Like, I don't think the total's weird or anything. 35 is a low total for an NFL game. It's probably, at the end of the day, going to be like 17-13. So I'm totally good with this under. Any side you wanted to go with is fine with me. The Chargers are playing their second road game on the East Coast, if you will. And I believe they stayed on the East Coast, so they didn't go back to the West. So I don't know if that travel is really going to be something you should factor in if you're capping. I don't know where to go with this game. So if you guys have anything, please lead the way.
Well, me and Royal, we agree that we think the Steelers defense is the best in the NFL as it stands right now. It's hard for me to look at the Steelers team total being at 19.5, rightfully juiced to the under, and be really convinced that this game is going to soar under. To me, like you said, I think this is a sneaky defensive touchdown for the Steelers, and somehow they find a way to go over their 19.5 today. It kind of reminds me, I've been trying to use experiences in different games and to kind of use it for future reference. And to me, this kind of reminds me of like Iowa unders. Mm-hmm. They're low for a reason. Vegas sets them at such a low total, and they still get a shit ton of tickets on the under. So you got to think, if you're a book, you're able to set a line at 35, 36 and still get majority of tickets on the under. That total to me isn't weird that it's that low. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it is the Steelers for me in this game, and I'd rather back them to go over their TT than I would for them to cover. I don't have a lot of belief in this Chargers team at all. But at the same time, it is a little fishy that the Steelers. I think the Steelers should be field goal favorites personally, but
okay, I'm with you. Royal, you have anything?
This game gives me not really, honestly. I almost got to the table with Fields passing yards just because I don't think they're gonna have much success on the ground. And I don't know if you've seen, but he's gotten a big play called back because of some penalty every single game.
No.
So a lot of people are like, oh, Fields doesn't have many touchdowns, doesn't have that many yards. every good play he makes gets called back. So like, I kind of think it hits today. I don't know if I'll get there. I'll look into it like closer, but no, I have a thing where I rarely fade Mike Tomlin, to be honest. So
more than okay with that.
Yeah.
More than okay with that. So my game script in this game is kind of like this. I faded the Chargers on the season, and I'm not going to overreact, but so far it's not even about them being 2-0. It's more so these clips of Harbaugh and Herbert that are making me regret it. You know, it's very cool. Harbaugh's a great coach, and I'm not like fading him. I just looked at this roster and the depth chart, and I was like, man, it's ugly. And you know, the young offensive line has been awesome. But I went back because we were on the Raiders last week in Baltimore, and I wanted to be sure before I put money and some credibility on the Raiders. I wanted to watch that game because, you know, they lost, I think, by 2 scores, but it was close. And I was not impressed with the Chargers really at all. The Raiders week 1, they were winning that game or tied in the first half on the road, and they had 2 turnovers and a missed field goal. The Chargers really, you got something to say real quick, MJ?
The more we're talking about this, the more I like Steelers team total over, man. I mean, I'm looking at it now. Like, look at the Chargers and who they've played. The Raiders and the Carolina Panthers. They've held them to 10-3. Like, this is the perfect spot to back Pittsburgh's offense. I'm locking in and adding it to my card right now. I was on the fence about it, but I love it. I love what you're saying.
So I'm not going to overreact to the Chargers. If you are playing this game, like I said, square under, that's fine with me. I like the Steelers, gun to my head. And I like Jaylen Warren to get in the fucking end zone. Jaylen Warren did nothing in week 1 at Atlanta. He had 2 carries for 7 yards, 2 catches, 13 yards. Against Denver, 9 carries for 42 yards, 2 catches for 19 yards. So he got 11 touches. I think we're going to see Jaylen Warren start to, kind of show up a little bit more. Not taking anything away against Najee, but I like the way the Steelers.
We can take a little bit away from Najee.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Tomlin loves Warren too. I mean, how can you not like that guy?
Who loves Warren? Tomlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tomlin is going to be, and we've already seen the Raiders were capable of, Zamir White is their feature back, but then Alexander Madison somehow scampered in for like a 20-yard touchdown against the Chargers defense in week 1. So that's not why I'm taking this. I'm a Jaylen Warren guy, and he's going to be in my touchdown parlay. So, whether you take him yards, whatever, he's 26.5 rushing yards, 45.5 rushing receiving yards on Underdog. I don't care. I would co-sign any of it. So it's Jaylen Warren day for me.
I like that a lot.
All right, let's talk about, a weird way, I feel like the fucking game of the weekend, the Eagles and the Saints.
Yeah.
This is Greg's best bet, and I won't talk too much and take away the talking points, but I do want to say this. He came in with the Eagles early in the week, and I fucking hated it. Again, if we are out, it's three people. So if it's 2-1 or it's your best bet, the play is going to make it in either the newsletter or the Circa Millions contest. I would have vetoed it hard, because I still didn't think anybody was buying the Saints yet. But the fact that the Eagles open up a favorite and it moves all the way to the Saints -3, I don't know whether it's an adjustment or whatever, but from what I have been gathering, it's all Saints money. It's a lot of Saints money. Now, if you look at the Circa Millions, the Eagles are actually getting more picks than the Saints, which I find a little bit surprising. But here's what I love. I'm assuming you guys, you live in Jersey, Northeast, whatever, Philly people or Philly fans. Here's what I love. I fucking love when a team's fan base is down. I absolutely love that. I don't know if you guys remembered my Jets sell job, but the Jets.
Trust me, DJ, we're down.
Okay.
We're down.
Oh, you're an Eagles fan. Okay.
My group chat is a hellfire.
I saw those Jets fans sweating against Will Levis, and then one guy I met said he was going to the game Thursday and very nervous. That's when I knew I was locking in the Jets. The Eagles are out on the Eagles. Out! Mm-hmm. And I love that. The market's out on the Eagles. The fans are out on the Eagles. I'm fucking down with the Eagles. So it took me 5 days to come around, but I'm good with the Eagles. I'm officially in on the Eagles +3. I do have a player prop in this game, but I'll stop yapping and let you guys talk. MJ, go ahead.
I was going to just ask y'all, because it'll lead into kind of what I like in this game. If you see the Eagles covering and winning in this game, do you see it being a firework type of back and forth offensive masterclass, or is it more of the defense shows up typically, or more so I should say the Philadelphia defense shows up?
I think
real quick, really good comment down there too. Kind of Michigan. Kind of I guess the Eagles haven't looked that bad, but I'm getting similar vibes, to be honest.
Great point, Kicks. And MJ, it's not that necessarily that I think the Eagles defense shows up. It's more so that, and this leads into my player prop, I think the fucking running game for the Eagles shows up. Saquon bounce back. Saquon bounced back after costing his team the game. And I'll just say it. Jalen Hurts' legs are back.
They are back.
Fresh, and he's bulldozing everybody. He's fucking fired up. The emotion's back.
You could tell yesterday he was limpering around on that thing.
That's the Jalen Hurts that was fucking almost won the MVP. That's the Jalen Hurts for the Eagles that almost won the Super Bowl.
His knee was healthy. I'm convinced he would have won the MVP last year.
So I'm in. Jalen Hurts rushing yards is my prop, and I do like the Eagles and lower scoring because I think we see fucking 5, 6, 7-minute drives from the Eagles.
That's exactly
big plays on the Saints. Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly what I'm thinking because I'm gonna buy low on this Eagles defense.
He's a Saints fan, by the way.
That's very funny.
If you look at it, I mean, what was the Eagles' defense strong suit last year is their defensive line, and if you look at it, their defensive line has been complete ones to start the year.
Yep.
No pressure, nothing like last year, especially Jalen Carter, who is a main focal point of why they were so successful last year because their secondary is nothing to talk about. And the only way that they're holding teams is because they're
Zach
putting
Bond.
pressure on the right. Not to mention Huff has been such a letdown to start the year, falling over in the start of plays. It's just looked like a total mess defensively. So I'm going to take the Saints TT under. It is scary because, like I said, they have that kind of setup with the Buccaneers the following week where I do think they win in Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
For me, this is kind of the Saints coming down to earth. If I think the Eagles cover, I think it's going to be holding the Saints to under 26 points. I don't know. I just can't get behind Hurts airing the ball out as much as he has in the first 2 weeks with all the problems that it's caused in the end. We've seen the success happen through Saquon, and I think they're going to kind of realize that he needs to be the focal point more so than Hurts' arm needs to be. And Kellen Moore is not used to that. We know those kind of offenses he likes to run is all air raid, but I think they're going to start figuring out that that's not the key to be successful with the roster that they have, especially with AJ Brown out coming off injury. So we'll figure that out eventually. But I think it's going to be more run game than even last week, which is hard to say.
I love that read, Royal. Before we go to real quick, Greg is in the chat, gifting 5 sub banks. As we mentioned, that is Greg's best bet. He is on the Eagles. Hated it on Monday, loved it on Friday. Greg Steak with 5 sub banks. We have a ton of new follows. Thank you, by the way. I'm sure you guys probably came over from the Ramble crew. We appreciate that. There's the newsletter for Greg's best bet and his reasoning. Go subscribe for free. Sorry to get a little corp on you guys. But I think that's a very ballsy bet. Picks with Deej, W sub bang, and happy 5-month anniversary. I think that's a very ballsy bet, and I love it. Royal, do you have anything cheeky in this game?
Actually, no. I like Hurts. If you remember last year, there was a system, QB rushing yards versus Saints.
I don't
because they play so much man defense and they blitz a good amount too. QB rushing yards, you want to look at teams that play man defense. Why? Because their back's turned. They're looking at the receiver. So there's a lot of open lanes there. And you mentioned the Hurts MVP year. That was with Steichen, who's obviously a very good play caller and looks to be a good head coach. He knew Hurts is better on the move. He knew he needed to run Hurts. And it worked. It was successful. And I think last year we saw how much of a disaster that was. Hurts wasn't really running.
Yeah.
Right. And Kellen Moore, like you said, he's usually not a guy with the mobile QB. But, I mean, Hurts, it's tough to say that because they sold that game. But how many, key plays did he have with his legs? And DJ mentioned he's running dudes over. I mean, you hear the announcers all the time. This guy squats 650. But, yeah, the Eagles are at the best when Hurts runs. And without AJ Brown, I don't know how much separation those receivers are getting. I don't know how many they're going to be open. I think he's going to be forced to run here. And I think you got to put the emphasis on Saquon. I mean, the guy looks incredible. So to me, I'm with you there. Going back to that system, I don't know. I had to look into it a little more. Actually, I completely forgot about that one. But yeah, that's my
look at. I definitely
love Hurts.
Look at the idiot Greg's tweet. I actually really like it. Today feels like the day everyone starts Rashid Shaheed after having me on their bench and he does nothing.
I mean, he's in 1,000 fucking TD parlays today.
Good job, Greg. Good job. I
August
like that
reception.
tweet.
So I want to back the Eagles secondary. Like Royal said, like this Philadelphia team is more successful on the ground, and we can buy low or sell high, I should say, on Derek Carr coming off beating Dallas in Dallas. That's not something even the Eagles could do last year. So
Fair. Okay. I like it. I like where our heads are at there. Okay. Let's go to Green Bay, Tennessee. I don't have anything in this game. I don't have a prop. I don't have a game script.
Man.
I don't have a side or a total. I only have this. I thought to myself, even before the season started, so obviously no injury, no Malik Willis, I was ready to lock and load and fade the Titans as my favorite under and largest play. I didn't do it. I didn't do it for the 3 units. I ended up coming back and doing it for just my standard 2. So I am on the Titans under win total. But I did say this: the Titans are going to win this fucking game because the Packers have this weird trip to Tennessee before they play the Bears. And we know there's a lot of hype going into that game because the Bears rivalry now is very interesting with these young quarterbacks. However, so I already thought the Titans were going to win this game looking at the schedules, right? Then I was like, all right, you like the bad to bad news the first go around, first game. The second time, it always kind of fucks you because then everybody's hip to it and then they get burned, right? Mm-hmm. So then I said to myself, the Titans are winning this game. Well, I keep my ear to the streets, and I think, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I think everybody likes the Titans this week.
Yep.
Which is really interesting to me. Now,
your favorite football capper's favorite play is the Titans.
Yeah. And even the smart guys, even the fucking smart guys in the Circa Millions and the Circa Invitational, when I listen all week to their picks, it's the Titans. And it's really a lot of Malik Willis can't get away with it again. And the Titans have shown you enough to want to like them. They kept it fucking tight with the Jets. They should have won the game against the Bears. I get it. I am just so out on Will Levis. And honestly, I don't know how I felt about Matt LaFleur. I did take him to win Coach of the Year last year with Tomlin. He's just made some boneheaded, questionable decisions throughout his career where I'm like, I don't know if I really value him as a head coach. If you can win a game with Malik Willis as a starting quarterback, that's it. You're done. Like for me, like you're in it. You're in the good coaching category for me. I'm not going to take you out. It's going to take a lot for me to take you out. So I'm good with Matt LaFleur. I'm good with the Packers getting points. That's where I would lean. Maybe it's just my like contrarian play and fading everybody on the Titans, but I cannot figure out a game script to save my fucking life. So do you guys have anything?
Let me tell you, as a Bears fan, LaFleur is a good coach. Well,
okay.
He's a good play caller. I'll tell you that. He's going to set his QBs up for success. He's going to score. And that's kind of like where I'm at with this one. Like, do I want to trust the first-year head coach with the – I mean, I think Levis is essentially a rookie QB at this point. I mean, he didn't get much experience. And like you said, he stinks. He's not great. That's the part that scares me, though, is nobody wants to back him, rightfully so. But I have a tough time fading the Packers just because they're such a winning organization. And – the one thing I will say, though, is that running game I don't think is going to happen again. The Titans' D-line is ferocious. Big word there, but they got some dogs on that D-line. They got a good front seven. So I'm with you. I'm lost here. I just always have a tough time fading LaFleur, to be honest. Well, I think we see Malik Willis have to throw more because I don't think Jacobs is running for, 180 or 160 again. So I think, if anything, they'll be trailing and maybe pull it out late, but I'm with you. Will Levis is tough to get behind.
This is what we do with this game. Weird-ass situation. Jordan Love might play in this game, by the way. He's game time.
He's not playing.
I don't think so.
He's game time.
I think they're throwing off the Titans.
I just think they want the Titans to sweat.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think the line would represent that if he was actually playing. So you're probably right in that sense.
Yep.
I was just going to say, if he did play, I would be taking the Titans at a better number, but let's assume he doesn't play. It's a weird situation because the Packers got that win last week with Malik Willis, obviously a backup. You know how profitable that system is in the NFL. So I'm assuming you actually like the Dolphins today too, D-Gen.
We'll get there.
It's weird, though, because it does seem like the obvious Titans bounce back. They're 0-2 ATS. They've looked good against the Jets, who just proved that they're a decent team that finally figured it out, I think, last week. I don't know. I'm not going to get to the counter on a side, that's for sure, but I definitely would lean the over. And I think if you want to back the Titans, you back them on the team total after how good that Packers defense.
I have
This is what. Sorry, Royal, to cut you
no,
off.
it's okay.
Steve, not familiar with you, and by no means am I saying I'm directly fading you or anything like that, but it is like these popular narratives that
Good point.
concern me. And I, if you, in case you missed me say this, I thought the Titans were winning this game. I am concerned that people are saying the Titans have looked good enough; they're not losing 2 in a row at home, or 0-3, whatever. And there's no way Malik Willis can win another game. If it happens, it happens. There's plenty of times everybody's on something and it works. I'm not fading anything. I'm not getting involved. That does concern me a little bit. Sorry, Ro, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was the more we were talking about it, I kind of really like Jaden Reed, but like I'm looking at his line, 30.5 rushing receiving. Is that? I feel like he
30
was
and a half rushing receiving?
Yeah.
That seems low.
I thought he would be in. I know it's Willis, but I mean,
I will say the Titans lost 2 games in a row last year too. So
yeah.
well, to me that really like I wouldn't. To me, like that would be like a 49ers or Cowboys or something.
Agreed,
Like the
agreed.
Titans suck. Like they should win. They should lose multiple games in a row.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking at that. I mean, since it's a backup QB, you got to think he's not airing it out, right? And Jaden Reed is their guy. I mean, I hate him because he's on the Packers, but I loved Christian Watson coming out. I thought he was a super talent, but injuries derailed him. So
Yeah.
it's Jaden Reed now, and he gets all those handoffs. He gets all those misdirections, screens, short stuff. I think he put up a stinker last week too, but I was looking at that line. I mean, man, does that seem easy? So I'll look into him more, but that's probably where I would lean.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Let's go to another nasty game. However, I have a read here, and I'm wondering if you guys agree or disagree. I was going back and forth between who to put on my masterclass candidate list, a quarterback or a wide receiver that is due to break out. It's the Browns hosting the New York shitbag Giants. 6.5, 6, whatever the number is. I think it was 7 at one point. Total 38.5. I think this is a spot where Deshaun Watson shows up, and I think it's a spot where Amari Cooper shows up. I don't know which one I want to attack, but I also like the Browns offense. I like the Browns team total over. The New York Giants were my best bet last weekend, and it was a miserable game to watch. And a very weird game to watch with no fucking kicker, but I'm not going to get into that. But what I will tell you is this. It was a pathetic job by the Giants defensive coordinating, Shane Bowen, the guy they got from the Titans. The scheme was so bland, so easy, so basic. They just challenged. They didn't challenge Jane Daniels at all. They just said, here, we're going to sit back and let you beat us. And he did. He was 22 for 29. He didn't turn the ball over. And the Commanders didn't punt. I think that this Giants defense, they have some like nice pieces. I really like their defensive line. I was in on Kayvon Thibodeau as a little sneaky sack leader. This guy is just nowhere to be found. Or if he does show up, like he just never can make the play. I don't know what Brian Burns is doing. Now, Dexter Lawrence, on the other hand, is a bad motherfucker.
He's a monster.
But the corners, they have this like young guy, Drew Phillips, that the fan base really likes. I think he's from Kentucky. I mean, he's nice. He's made some really good plays. But I think that there is always something to me, again, in my experience, of backing teams making their second home, playing their second home game when the first one went so poorly. I think that the emphasis is just you want to get back and get right in front of your home crowd. And I think there's no better team to do it against than a New York Giants defense that is not very good. They're on back-to-back road games, and they just played a divisional opponent. I think that the Giants are going to get dog walked. However, I understand that's probably more square, which is okay. I will square up from time to time. I did not get there with the Browns because at the end of the day, Steak is in my ear. Greg is in my ear saying the Browns are bad. I took the Browns to miss the playoffs, so I don't want to go against that too much. The Browns are going to be a popular survivor pick. If they go down, would it really shock any of us with the way the season started? Not really. But I'm going to end it with this. Listening to VSiN and these sportsbook managers come on and talk about plays and sides, as I told you, they said there's so much Saints money moving the market. They said all week there is nothing but under money in this game. It would not surprise me if one or both of these offenses go off, because I will give Danny Dimes his credit. He played a very good game against the Commanders. He didn't make any mistakes. Maybe they dink and dunk it. I don't know. I like his rushing yards. Kind of going to what you said about Lamar Jackson. I think the defense is going to make his life hell. I don't think he's got much supporting cast outside of Neighbors. I trust Jim Schwartz to kind of shut Neighbors down, and then Jones will probably scamper and pick up some first downs. But I like the Browns team total over. I like Cooper. And then Daniel Jones rushing yards. So I like a lot in this game. However, I'm not on a side or a total. So I know I did a lot of yapping. Any thoughts?
Bro, you go ahead, man.
I mean, the one thing I agree with one thing. It's the Browns at that number. Just, I mean, winning
Seems
by a
like a lot of
touchdown.
respect, right?
Yeah, it also seems. I feel like it seems rather easy too. But
Ooh,
just the
damn,
fact
okay.
they're 6.5. I mean, we saw
Mhm.
what the Vikings defense did to the Giants. I mean, the Browns they have more talent on that defense. Granted, like you said, Flores, I like him more, but I mean, man, I can't see a way they're stopping Myles Garrett and all these guys. I know
No.
he's even injured, but still. Man, I think I kind of lean the over with you in some fashion.
Mhm.
I don't know how it happens, but to me, it seems like Browns and under is just insanely easy here. Maybe it's by the Browns. Maybe, like you said, their offense comes together. I mean, I commented on your tweet. Amari has been open. It's just the
Yep.
disconnects for whatever reason are not there. And Judy's kind of starting playing well. Elijah Moore is playing well. They're using Foreman and Ford. Their line's getting healthy. So I don't know. I'm really lost on this one. And there's a lot of 6.5 point favorites here. One probably goes down the way betting works. We saw it last week. I don't know if it's this one though. I don't know.
It's tough for me to get. Like, you got, I don't know, man. Like, I really want to take a Giants ticket. I thought at least one of you wanted to take the Giants. Like, after last week, sold everyone in that chart. Nobody was on the Commanders, and I was on the Giants personally too. I don't think anybody was on the Commanders last week for some reason. I thought a ton of people would be. That line seems
Me
super
too.
short against the Commanders, only being +1 on the road. To me, that seems so easy to back Jaden Daniels and a trendy QB in Washington. I gotta take the Giants +6.5, man. Like, regardless of what the splits say, I haven't even looked. I know there's more tickets on the Browns, and this line has been frozen at 6.5. They're just giving you that hook. I know
That's my
Cleveland
thoughts as
hasn't looked
well.
impressive, but I think people for some reason have faith in this team. And to me, like, none of their games, they've shown me anything to make me think that they're going to blow a really crappy team in the Giants out of the water. Like the Jags, I think, are underperforming to everyone's expectations, and they didn't do dog shit against the Cowboys. Those touchdowns, you could look at the box score. Those touchdowns came late in the second half when that game was already over. They pretty much got shut out by Dallas. And if there's any highlight we can point to for the Giants, it's their defense. So it is tough because I do lean the over somewhat with y'all, and backing the Giants in an over is fucking insane.
Mhm.
It's not an extremely strong lean by any means, but I like the Giants with the points personally. I think the Browns might be a good MLP piece if you want to pair them with the Titans or the Steelers. But man, I think the Giants with the points is a decent look. I don't think anybody in their right mind is going back to them after last week, yourself included, DJen.
No, but also there is something to be said, and I have heard this from somebody in the flesh when I was hanging out with Steak and another buddy watching the Thursday night football game. Where did it go? People aren't lining up to ship back Watson at an overwhelming rate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The first thing he said, which is where I thought you were saying, is he's like, the Browns laying 7. He was like, fuck that. I think that's a lot of respect for a team that has not looked good.
That's fair.
The one thing though that is definitely keeping me off is mid-major Matt, who's a pretty sharp dude, said, wouldn't it be funny if the Browns flipped the script from last year where their defense was great at home, terrible on the road, and their defense ended up being really good on the road and not as good at home? We already saw the Cowboys put up 33 in week 1 in Cleveland, and then the defense played great last week. The Browns were 2-14 on third down last week against Jacksonville. And I will say this, Jacksonville's defense might be low key kind of good.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking shut
some
down the
pieces.
Dolphins in week 1 when you got McDaniel having all that time to prepare. That's impressive. And I don't know. I mean, keeping the Browns to limiting the Browns too deserves a little credit. So anyways, I do not co-sign a Giants tickets today, but I in the sense of nobody sees it coming and chaos and contrarian, I get it. But I think this Browns offense is going to put up some points. So I would probably side or total. I would go over if anything. And then I'll be on something Amari Cooper related. All right, let's talk about your Bears. By the way, MJ.
Oh man,
it's 10:05. You kind of just let me know in like 10-15 minutes. Even if we don't go through the whole board, you can get Ramble going and I can switch over to you. I don't mind at all.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Ro can even stay for a little bit while it gets set up. We'll be flexible.
Okay. All right. I'm not even going to say anything. I'll just let you guys go ahead and start talking. Royal, you're a Bears fan. Steak, as you know, is very high on the Bears this year. Not off to a great start, but I'm not going to panic yet. Not going to panic. Defenses look great. So you're a 1-point underdog in in Indianapolis, 43.5. I thought the total looked a little higher than I expected. I think the offense come to life. You agree? Okay. Feel free to tell me what you like in this game.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree. I mean, how many points did the Colts put up last week? And Anthony Richardson looked horrendous, like 12, 15, lost.
I think they scored 10 points, but they didn't score a touchdown until like 2 minutes left in the game.
Right. And
they
we
were
just
awful.
saw, and the Bears defense is getting a ton of hype. Like they've been solid for years, and they've never gotten hype like this. And we just saw it in prime time. Second half, shut down the Texans, single-handedly won week 1 versus the Titans. So to me, this total tells me, unless the Bears offense just goes berserk, that the Colts are scoring on this defense. I don't know how much, but I do think they score. I'm on Anthony Richardson rush yards, similar reasons to Lamar. I just think he's going to bounce back. 0-2 start for them as well. And they had playoff hopes. They had high hopes. So to me, I like him. They're at their best with him moving, and Steichen is their coach and play caller, and they had Hurts, and that's when they were successful. So I like him. I do like DeAndre Swift. If the Bears offense if the Bears offense is going to get fixed, or their line, it starts with the run game. And normally I hate betting like this because both running backs have had over 150 yards. But to me, it's got to be his rushing and receiving, especially with Keenan Allen out. I think he's going to be that safety valve, and I think he's going to have that home run ability. I mean, like I said, his whole career has been big plays. You know, he's not going to beat you up 10 yards a carry. I mean, obviously in the Eagles he did just because that system, but to me, it's a screen pass for 50 yards. It's a swing route, and he makes someone miss and goes deep. But I do like points. This total tells me that the Colts are going to score. Bears kind of figured it out a little bit. And again, that's why I like Swift. I don't know if they get that passing game going. I do like the way Caleb played in that first quarter. And then once D'Amico figured out if he blitzes everybody, they stand no chance. That's all they did. But to me, that line still needs a lot of help. They're playing a backup, hoping that fixes everything. So I rather rely on Swift to kind of be the workhorse today.
This feels like exactly what we did with Aaron Rodgers with week 3. They're finally figuring out there's so many new pieces. They have a ton of hype. They have talent. They just need time for it to click. And, Royal, you didn't even go into the matchup that Caleb Williams has from a passing perspective. I think this is a great spot to back Caleb Williams passing.
Their secondary is bad.
It's a buy low spot. I love the over in this game, and I think it's going to be somewhat of a trailing game script, if not a back-and-forth game script with Caleb Williams, and it starts with him throwing the ball. Yeah, his passing yards have been going down all week. I really don't care. It opened up at 215. It went down to 209. I guarantee people are taking his under, not convinced of this Bears offense. Feed me Caleb Williams passing yards. I don't care. This is the spot for it. This is the spot for it. I like the over, and I like Caleb Williams passing yards today.
And I will say, we've had the same issues as last year. We just have more talent. Fields, and I know totally different QBs, but he never saw 200s. It was like 170s, 180s. So Caleb week 1 was like 250 passing yards. And then last week, I think it was like 220-ish, 218. And
this
still
is sell high, buy low. This is what you do in football.
Dude, I agree. It's just fat girls can relate. You don't understand.
Look at Rodgers, bro. His line was going down and down and down. Week 3, it was at the same number, 215.5 for Rodgers. Like, you could put it that way too. Rodgers was at the same line Caleb Williams is. Yeah, Rodgers hasn't looked great. Williams hasn't looked great, but this seems like the exact same scenario. It really does.
That's what I was going to say is there's these quarterbacks in the first 2 weeks where you look at their stats and they haven't hit 200 passing yards. And then in week 3, everything just kind of works out. It's the right matchup. It's the right spot.
You can point to why.
Yeah, and what did Rodgers do? He had like 280 yards passing. He looked great. That's kind of why I like Deshaun. And I think Caleb kind of fits that script too. This is a really good spot. I know he just played in the dome. I don't know that the dome really helps or hurts, but also with these rookie receivers, we saw the clip on social media of Marvin Harrison Jr. not having one catch, Kyler missing him wide open in Buffalo. What do you do in week 2? 130 yards in the first quarter and a touchdown. Malik Neighbors, nothing in week 1, bounce back in week 2. I would go Roma Dunze to show up here after his dad retweeted that clip of him being not being found. So I'm on a Dunze. I like Caleb. I like somebody said JT Masterclass. Again, I talk about being a week early. I had Jonathan Taylor alted to 110. plus rushing yards. He had 103 on 12 carries. He probably can go off. I just see this game at some point being 21-21. Just like a over 6.5 in hockey where it's 3-3. I know it sounds stupid. I think this goes over the 43.5. So we all like points from some sort of perspective on both teams. And yeah, I'm good with Caleb. I'm good with Swift. I'm good with whatever. So
yeah, that's my touchdown guy is Swift today.
Swift is your guy. Okay. Royal, did we have a touchdown guy for you or not yet?
I mean,
if you don't have one yet, that's fine. It can come.
I like Richardson a little bit, to be honest.
Oh, you said Richardson. Okay.
But not for touchdown. I mean, I will say I did want to mention JT because that's one guy I don't like, and it's no bias. But this Bears defense, the run defense is legit. And if there's a weakness on this team, it's our corners or Tyreek Stevenson, I should say. He got cooked all first half. So to me, they're going to target him because Jalen is shut down. So they're going to find ways to exploit him, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, that run defense, I don't see JT having that much success, to be honest. He would need to break one, in my opinion, to go over. Okay.
Miami and Seattle. This is my best bet. MJ, I think you asked me if I like the Dolphins. I do like the Dolphins. I just think I like that the Dolphins are in a really desperate spot here to kind of show that their season's not over with the Tua injury. I don't know when he's supposed to be back, if he comes back. But I think that Skylar Thompson is also a quarterback I'm not scared to bet. He's not Malik Willis, so it's not as nasty and contrarian. The guy's played before, and he's actually been pretty competent, scoring 31 points on the road in Buffalo. Granted, his stat sheet wasn't great, 18 of 45 or something like that. But I really think that there's something with Seattle that I like long-term. I like the coach. I think I like Geno this year. I talked about him with Fat Girls.
I'm a big Seahawks guy, dude.
Yeah, that's right. I remember there was someone that I heard really liked the Seahawks, and I wasn't there yet. But they did narrowly escape with victories in a way. They held the point spread
both weeks
against the Broncos and the Patriots.
Yes.
We just saw this Patriots defense not very good. Now, granted, it was a different situation. They were on a short week. But they really don't have anybody outside of Christian Gonzalez. Rodgers looked fantastic. Geno played great in week 2. Coming back home cross country against a Dolphins team that, I don't know, like, couldn't they maybe take them a little lightly knowing that there's no Tua now? Maybe not. Still a young head coach, lot to prove.
For sure.
New offensive coordinator. There's things that scare me about Seattle, 1,000,000%. So it's not like my favorite play ever, but I did land it on it as my best bet. It was 6 earlier in the week. Unfortunately, I'm at 4.5. But I still like it at 4.5. I think we're going to get a really good effort from Miami. And I think that with Skylar Thompson being in Miami for 2-ish years, I think that there's enough that McDaniel can do with him offensively. And now with Achane, I think Hill and Waddle are both healthy enough to be playing too. I know Achane's a guy everybody's talking about. I think Tyreek Hill is like the square dude, chocolate dude that nobody's talking about today.
Yeah.
I think they fucking link up for a bomb.
It reminds me of Justin Jefferson versus the Niners.
Okay, fair enough. That is exactly what I see in my head. So I was going to go Tyreek Hill touchdown or Tyreek Hill over receiving yards or longest reception. Something Tyreek Hill is what I see. I don't know where I'm at with the total in this game, but I like the Dolphins to keep it close, and it is my best bet. So if you guys have any leans on props, feel free.
Yeah, I was looking. It's funny enough. I was looking at Tyreek, and I was looking at Charbonnet rushing, and I ended up going with Charbonnet rushing.
That's a good one.
Just because of the pure fact, I think last week with Kenneth Walker being out, I think a lot of people jumped on that Charbonnet rush yards being a little bit lower than it is this week, him going under. Not to mention Miami hasn't looked great defensively when it comes to rushing attacks. I mean, look at Tanks Bigsby week 1, not a big name. And these are like low carries, big chunk plays. Like even looking at their game last week against Buffalo, James Cook, 80 yards on only 11 carries. Big chunk plays, and I'll take a low name in Charbonnet to go over this number, where I think a lot of people would be expecting a passing game script with Seattle. I think Miami's defense is kind of known for having bad secondary play. So I'll go the other angle with the running attack.
I like that. You're kind of selling high off of Geno's week 2 performance too, where they threw the ball 44 times and
DK looked unbelievable. JSN at 100 plus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
17 targets.
I could see the running game kind of flip. Everybody thinks it's going to be Achan, and the running game for the Dolphins would be kind of funny if it was their receiver and passing game, and then the rushing game for the Seahawks. Yep.
Right.
So 96.5 rushing and receiving yards, also pretty fucking.
If I'm Miami and I have a rookie quarterback in Skylar Thompson, right, I'm still going to get the ball to my playmakers in Hill and Waddle, but it's just not going to be down the field. It's going to be, and we know the Miami's offensive scheme is one of the most creative in the NFL. They're going to make life as easy as possible. So I do like that angle with Miami, because if they're going to make his life as easy as possible, giving these throws behind the line of scrimmage, wide receiver screens to their fast playmakers. So I think they'll have opportunities to make this game somewhat close. So
that's what I was going to say. I'm going to stay off props in this one because I don't want to pick between A-Chain, Waddle, or Hill, because I think MJ just nailed it. To build confidence with Thompson, and granted, like you mentioned, DJ, he's been in that system for a while, but just doesn't have the experience, and I do not see him airing it out. You get it in their hands. I mean, these are 3 of the most explosive guys in the league. So to me, you let them do the work.
Exactly.
And I know A-Chain just kind of went off versus the Bills. That's the only.
That's going to be the popular thing. It's a rookie quarterback, so they have to hand the ball off. No,
he's not a rookie.
Passing scheme. I'm sorry, not rookie. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Okay. I was going to say, I think a lot of people are going to stay away from A-Chain, but
you think people are going to stay away from him?
I think people are going to jump all over him.
I think they're going to love him today.
Well, yeah. Okay, I agree. Okay. I'm trying to think how to word it. The mega sharps will stay away from
Okay, fair enough.
Plus EVs.
Yeah, right.
I think Viz is kind of hitting on the head here. Like, you just get him involved. I mean, he was the bright spot versus the Bills. Probably going to see a lot of checkdowns, and I mean, yeah, he's a beast. So I don't want to play the game between the 3 of them. So I
don't want to harp on this game too much, but who's the guy within Miami's offense that runs more of like these jet rushes? Is it Tyreek
Waddle,
or is it Waddle?
Waddle, I think.
Taking a rush receiving yard line for one of them might be kind of cheeky.
Yeah.
I know. So I'm with you guys on not airing it out and getting them the ball and letting them do the work. Here's the thing. McDonald, the coach for the Seahawks, is a very, very good defensive coordinator. And I think what he's going to do is preparing them for that. I think they're going to play closer to the line of scrimmage and then maybe stack the box, if you will.
Sure.
But I think McDaniel he's a smart dude. I think he's going to have probably 2 or 3 plays in his back pocket. And he's going to get fucking Tyreek, the fastest guy in the NFL. Maybe, I don't know, Xavier Worthy is now, to get a couple deep shots. Also, maybe try to draw a fucking flag. And I think Skylar is going to connect on one of them. I see one big play, game script, one big play. So I like Tyreek. Longest reception is 22.5, and he's coming off of a pretty
so low for him
game. Okay, we'll keep it moving. A couple more games in the 4 o'clock slate. Oh wow, the NFL kind of changed it up a little bit. Now we got 5 games in 4 o'clock. But we did already talk Ravens Cowboys, so we just have a few more, and then we'll get it over to Ramble. I really appreciate you guys coming on. By the way, it's been
really fun.
All right, Carolina and the fucking Raiders. So, listen, I posted a screenshot earlier in the week when Sandy and Sura and all these guys. Andy Dalton comes in. Everybody's reacting, and they're going to Carolina. You got a good number, 7.5. I'm not saying the play is not going to hit, but I also am telling you.
It's not going to hit. It's not going to hit.
We started to really like the Raiders, and it's not to fade any certain individual. I promise you that. I just, even in the offseason, smart guys like the Carolina Panthers. As a Bucs fan who saw Dave Canales' work, and I'm very thankful for what he did, I thought he was being so overvalued as being some sort of miracle worker, reviving Geno, reviving Baker. These guys are fucking fine without him. He's a nice young guy in the NFL, Canales. I think he'll be a good head coach, not overnight. The Panthers are pathetic. Andy Dalton coming in is not changing that. Are they going to be a little less pathetic? Sure. But let me tell you, when I took the Carolina Panthers team total under 8.5 in this game. We came around to putting the Raiders as a circa millions play.
When you mean team total? I'm sorry.
I'm on the Carolina Panthers team total under.
Okay.
When I saw Dave Canales' interview on how Bryce Young had been, and it's like, oh, he's running the scout team very well, there was like this like sadness and like scaredness in his voice where he's just like, it started to click to me. I know. And then Steak said it. He's like, could you imagine being hired to save Bryce Young and you bench him in week 2? A light bulb went off. They didn't bench him in week 2 because they're giving up. No, that's not what I believe.
Saving his life.
They are fucking saving his life because I think this Raiders defense, The defensive
Good.
line is nasty. And
Oh,
Max
yeah.
Crosby has been a guy. I've been betting on this dude for the last 2-3 years to win Defensive Player of the Year and have the most sacks. He hasn't,
too.
but I'll tell you, his
Close.
number has been going higher and higher and higher. Now he's
Yep.
one of the co-favorites.
This
He's a
is your
fucking
sack
dog.
play.
This is my sack play. This is my guy. I might even like the Raiders to score, defense to score. I think they are going to make Andy Dalton's life fucking miserable. I think he is dreading having to play this game. And I think that it's probably going to be like a 27-10 Raiders win. I don't have any game script offensively. And one thing I do hate is like betting on a team after a really big win. You know, it's kind of a letdown spot, if you will, which I think of more in college than the NFL. But I know it's a bad spot for the Raiders. I really do. However, I think they're going to get up for this game. Because instead of it being a letdown, I think they're going to ride momentum because you got your home opener. You're going to have a crowd that's going to be your home crowd. Whereas if you're playing the Steelers, the Eagles, etc., we were there for a Bears game. That place is 50-50 at most of Raiders fans and the away team fans who make it a thing to travel to Vegas. I think the Raiders get in that ass of the Carolina Panthers. I think it's a miserable day. I think Max Crosby is all over him. 4 tackles for loss and 2 sacks on Lamar Jackson. I think Dalton gets sacked 7 times. So that's my long-winded rant. Do you guys have anything you like on either side of this game?
I mean, it's Raiders for me. You could put any really
You're
QB in
fucking
history behind that Panthers O-line and system and talent. I mean, it's just.
Do we think FSU and the Panthers are covering back-to-back days? Is that going to happen? Like, come on, dude. There's no way. Pigs are about to fly, dude.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
I agree.
I could name 1,000 things I'd rather do than bet on the Carolina Panthers. Man, like this team sucks, and the reason I liked your angle with the TT new quarterback situation, so people could be putting hope in that. And honestly, you watch that game against the Ravens, the box score doesn't tell it, but it was the Raiders defense that won in that game. Yeah, the offense finished off the possessions, but Lamar was seeing ghosts all day, and the box score doesn't represent that necessarily. So I like it. I'm personally on Max Crosby, Defensive Player of the Year. I was on a preseason. I'm right there with you, DGen.
Nice.
The guy that keeps progressing in his career. His numbers gets better and better year over year. Now in year 3 in a underrated Raiders defense. The only reason I can't get there on the spread is because I refuse to bet Carolina Panthers games. But if Carolina Panthers, if they do cover, I don't think it's going to be an offensive battle, if that makes sense. I don't think it's going to be, so.
And another thing I like about Max too, and betting him, I didn't get there because I'm like, God, I've seen these numbers at like 25-1. Now they're 7-1. Plus the competition I kind of respect too. They signed, and you don't really see this a lot from a team with like a 6.5 win total. They fucking paid Christian Wilkins,
you got a
defensive tackle, to play right next to him. Like that is terrifying because you can now only put so much attention on him to have Christian Wilkins next to him.
Say that.
So yeah,
anymore really.
Yeah, I like the fucking defense. I think they get in his ass. All right, let's finish strong here. 2 more games. Niners and the Rams. Niners are -6.5. I'll keep this short and sweet. I'm down on the Rams on the season. I think they're gonna have a miserable year. I think the Niners are gonna win this game, and I think it's a Brock Purdy masterclass. So it's kind of similar to Stroud, Dak, and Brock. I think Brock Purdy. I don't know if he's going yards. I don't know if he's going touchdowns. He's just going to dice up that defense.
I could not believe Steak is on the Rams. I couldn't believe it.
I can't either.
I understand why, but the Niners have so many injuries.
So do the Rams.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I think more people are liking a home dog getting 7 against a Niners team that I don't think anyone's been impressed with yet this year. It's like I think the Rams seem really easy, and I don't want to make like examples in different like sports or leagues, whatever you call it, but college football, we look at it like last night with Oklahoma getting 7 at home. Like these home dogs, and I know the Rams haven't looked good. It's still the Rams. It's still the Rams in people's eyes. It's only week 3 at this point, and getting 7 against a San Francisco team that hasn't lived up to expectations. Yes, they looked great, but not as the superior force that we all
won. They were pretty good, man.
I would even go as far as saying it wasn't them necessarily looking as good as it was their opponent looking bad. But that is good. That is a good point.
I don't know, dude. That defense was buzzing.
Just saying, it just seems like people are down on the Niners this year for some reason.
They are.
I
Niners
agree.
take a step back was a very, very popular narrative. Yeah, I think Brock Purdy has a really good day, but these are going to be two coaches that love to go against each other, and it's like which one can do more with less today. So I don't know. It's sometimes the bets that I hate end up hitting, and so that's why with Steak, I'm just going to trust him, but I am not getting involved. I like Purdy in some way, shape, or form, though. Maybe completions. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Royal. Did you have something in the game?
Not really. I was just gonna say you kind of hit it there. I mean, it's these teams are both missing all their stars, and granted, like they're some of the best players in the league. So like, kind of makes me want to take the over, but I don't know if I'll get there because then you got McVay and Shanahan, very good high scoring coaches. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify. I don't mean everyone's rushing to bet the Rams. I just think it's somewhat enticing getting the Rams in a bounce back spot, and I think it's hard to fade the Niners losing outright at Minnesota. Like I just feel like that's a tough game to fade them off of.
Yeah,
very fair. Lions -3 in Arizona. This is talking about another steak bet I hate. This is his fucking best bet. And by the way, this is the last time I'll do this. The newsletter, you can subscribe on the website and read the reasonings and the plays.
Sign up, man.
We have 6 total, 5 plays. Thank you. 5 plays on a total today. We've gone over them all. It is free. Detroit on the road. I thought this was a good get right spot for the Lions. Getting out of Detroit, that city is buzzing. They're kind of already thinking that they're going to be playing in the Super Bowl. I think it's a good spot for their offense, but Steak says no. Steak says Cardinals with the points. That sick bastard. I think it's a gross play. I also think you're kind of buying a little high with the Cardinals after that big win at home, but at the end of the day, that kind of offsets because you'd be thinking bounce back for the Lions too after losing as a touchdown favorite. So kind of I see that angle of similarly with the Ravens. Ravens bounce back. No way they start 0-3. Detroit bounce back. No way they start 1-2. The last thing I'm going to say, anytime you're betting the Lions, you have to remember this. The Lions are the trendiest, I believe the trendiest NFL team, if not the, then one of my lifetime of following football and betting football. Yeah, there's not one person who had a bad thing to say about them. There's not one person fading them. Somebody has a piece of the Lions. Almost everybody does. And I have Goff MVP. Over wins, win the division, win the NFC, you name it. So when you think about these spots for the Lions, you have to remember, like, sports betting isn't always that easy. And when weird shit happens, it's like, it's just what you just got to chalk it up. You know what I mean? It's just part of the game. So with that said, I still like offense, some way, shape, or form. I don't know. People got burned on a Rams total in the first 2 or Lions total season. I'll let you guys start talking though. I got nothing.
It made me second guess what I was going to say. Royal, you go ahead.
I wanted to say too, and I'm not trying to be a Henry hindsight, but MJ, you can attest to this. I was saying all offseason Lions regression. To me, they have the pieces. But did that year just not feel like magical? Just everything went right, and it's going to be so hard to replicate. And that's not to say they're going to be a losing team. But that team last year, I mean, good Lord, were they a force. And to me, I'm not a Dan Campbell fan. I'm really not. I think as soon as that OC leaves, Ben Johnson, if they don't replace him, they're gonna struggle. I mean, Goff is obviously playing very well. To me, they have the best offensive line in football. You have all the weapons you can ask for. It's really not tough for him. I was saying Lions regression. I think if I had to guess, I feel like Steak might have been in that same boat, which is why he's backing the Cardinals, where everyone's trying to fade them. And we were all saying all offseason too, Cardinals are going to put up points. They're going to be almost in every game. It's just a matter of how well that defense can play. It could be the Bears fan of me talking, but I kind of lean the Cardinals as well. Let
me break the ice here.
Let
me ask you guys a question. How many times would you guys think that the Lions went under 27.5 in back-to-back games last year? 27 points last year. How many times?
None.
0. How many times have they done it this year? Both games to start the year.
Wow.
Don't overthink it. It's Lions team total to the moon today. They're scoring 35 plus against the Cardinals.
I can see that.
That's exactly what I said to start the week, dude.
Sell high with the Cardinals, buy low with the Lions. The Lions just lost outright to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And let's be real, that defense is legit. And Baker's on a revenge tour. That line, I think, was somewhat of a trap to a lot of people. I think me, DJ, and Royal were all on the Lions last week. No. I don't think anybody really wants to go back to them. I want to back their offense, though. They're coming off a stinker, 16 points, and then 26 points that they needed overtime to get to. Now you're telling me that we can get 27.5 against the Arizona Cardinals, where everybody thinks their offense is the best in football, and Marvin Harrison is the second coming of Randy Moss after one game. It's funny how people's opinions switch up. Week 1, he was the worst wide receiver in the NFL.
Slow.
Week 2, he's the best wide receiver. So which one is it? And Kyler Murray is the second coming of God when everybody preseason thought he was ass, and me and Royal thought his passing yards was a good look. Everyone called us crazy for that. Now everybody thinks he's great. I'm selling high with the Cardinals. And if they do cover, it's going to be offensively. They're not holding this team to points. So it's going to be an offensive battle. And if anyone struggles to put up points, I think it's the Cardinals. Feed me Detroit team total over 27.5.
I like that angle.
Amon-Ra is scoring a touchdown as well today.
I mean, I love it. That's what I liked a lot to start the season. And I already got a unit of the Cardinals. I mean, I got to blindly do it. Like I said, I told Steak, the only way it goes in there is if it's best bet. He said best bet. He was initially going with the Saints, and then he pivoted and he went with the Cardinals.
Ooh, going back on his gut.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
he's in Ibiza too. I don't know. He might not be in the right headspace. How much lab work is he doing?
Out of respect, though, he said if Greg was going to make the Eagles his best bet, he would go.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. The only reason I would see it not hitting is if the Lions, everybody's saying the way to beat the Cardinals is to run it. So maybe they just run a little bit more, control the clock. The game somehow stays under. That would be the only concern I have. But otherwise, I love it. All right, real quick, and then MJ, like I said, if you want to get Ramble going, and
let's talk about this one, and then I'll dip. No problem.
All right, Chiefs, Falcons. I was going to square up with the Chiefs here. I think the Falcons went from 3.5 to 3. Steak likes the Falcons. Greg likes the Falcons. So again, I'm kind of on an island here. I'm in the minority. I don't know. I mean, yeah, short week for the Falcons. There's that narrative. Primetime Kirk did the unthinkable. I'm just kind of in the mindset like the Chiefs got pretty lucky, if you will, right, to win both games. They could easily start 0-2. Classic like bailout from the refs. Mahomes doesn't really look that great to start the year.
Oh.
I think that he just slices and dices them on Sunday Night Football in Atlanta. And also my masterclass guy in this game is going to be Travis Kelce. Hasn't really done shit to start the season. Yeah. I could kind of see him showing up in Atlanta. Like Kirk Cousins doesn't seem like an Atlanta guy. Bill Belichick, rumored to go coach the Falcons, never seemed like an Atlanta guy. Travis Kelce, you've seen the baddies he used to date before Taylor Swift. He seems like a guy that goes to Atlanta and have a good time. So I'm leaning into that narrative. Give me Kelce to score a touchdown and over receiving yards. That's all I got in this one.
I think it's a cute spot to, as square as it might be. This might be the best spot to back Mahomes passing yards, dude.
I was gonna say second lowest of his career, I think. Right.
I like his under interception as well. He has 3 to start the year. That's not very like Mahomes. Like you said, even the eye test, Mahomes hasn't looked great on prime time. Falcons just beat the Eagles. Getting 2 primetime games back to back is really weird to me. So everyone was watching those games, all eyes on that. Falcons, I mean, they shouldn't have won that game. I think the defense looked somewhat stout against what I think a lot of people like in an offense in Philadelphia. So I'm here to back the Chiefs. I'm here to back Mahomes. I think Mahomes, we got just vintage Mahomes. I like his passing yards, and under an interception is a cheeky look. I got burned with Hurts at the end of that game, so I'm kind of hesitant. That's honestly the worst. Like if you're trying to sweat out a prop, under interception is the least fun you will ever have betting. Every pass, you're just hoping they don't throw.
So much can go
that
wrong.
Was a brutal beat.
Horrible. I mean,
that was a brutal fucking beat.
It's whatever. I mean, I knew it was happening. Jalen Hurts, 4 seconds left. I mean, a pick is almost happening 90% rate.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I think it's a spot to buy low on the Chiefs, and you're not going to get that a lot this season. I don't think.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we also see them pounding it with Carson Steele? Because I don't think Hunt's suiting up, is he? I think he needs a week or something.
Not really. I mean, that's kind of like a cute angle. Maybe I know Carson Steele's a guy people like, but I think it's just a classic fucking Mahomes.
I agree.
29 of 36, 300 something yards, 3 touchdowns, and he's just masterful.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Plus, Falcons have 2 like all-pro safeties and a borderline all-pro corner. To me, it's like on paper, you kind of think that people would be a little scared to bet Mahomes and how bad he's looked with that talented secondary.
Yeah. The Falcons
I'm with you.
Passing defense being their strength, I think, is kind of a known thing. And,
exactly.
And I respect it. Like, AJ Terrell is a bad motherfucker.
Exactly.
So is Bates. He's arguably the best safety in the league right now.
I say Mahomes.
You can sell high with the Falcons defense and buy low with Mahomes, which is crazy to say.
I like it. I like it. Gentlemen, thank you very much for
That was really
coming on.
fun, dude.
This was awesome. And again, I appreciate you guys always having Steak and myself on.
Yeah.
We're happy to do so anytime. And I know we kind of went over everything, so you'll get Ramble fired up. I hate that you have to kind of repeat yourself.
No, we got Beeve and Jeff, dude. There'll be plenty of
that's
other
right.
perspectives. Don't you worry. But dude, no, seriously, thank you guys. Thank you for having us on. We want to do this more. Whenever you want us to come on, we'd be more than willing to wake up early this day. Like, I think our communities have the most in common and comes to, like, I guess these little niche communities out there in gambling Twitter. Like, ours seems to fit and mesh the best.
Couldn't agree more.
And our chemistry, like us together and then Steak coming on, is, I think people just fucking
good dynamic.
Love it. Yeah, people fucking love
I
it.
think so too, and that's why I thought like it may be best for everybody involved, us and the viewers, if we didn't run at the same time, because that would just seem like a silly thing to do.
And Ramble is DGen Weekly disciple, so like if we're talking, if Ramble's the subsidiary, DGen family is the fucking parent company. That's the global HQ.
Hey, there's a thing that just popped up called unfollow. No. There's something that just popped up that said something Ramble Live, and I didn't know what to do with it on my Twitch. Did you activate that?
Oh, did Jeff go live? Let me see real quick.
Well, I clicked it and then it just said unfollow Ramble, so I didn't click it. That was interesting though. I don't know anything about Twitch. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I'm with you, man. I let MJ handle all of that.
It doesn't show you're live yet though. But no, seriously, like I said, I gave you your flowers in the beginning of the stream, but you guys are awesome. I love the attitude. I love the logic. You guys are smart dudes. You know what you're talking about. You have your own takes, perspectives, angles, and I like that. You take some ballsy plays, which is awesome. I always call like vending machine plays when I worked in wireless sales, and I always sold the cheapest phone and the cheapest plan. I thought I was crushing it because my numbers were good until my store manager came in and was like, anybody can a vending machine can fucking sell the cheapest plan.
The last thing I'll say is that's such a great point, because just setting yourself apart, like people think like just putting out winning plays is the key to like blowing up your Twitter account. Like I'm sure you get DMs all the time. Like, how do I get more engagement? How do I get more of a following? I want to do this. Dude, you got to be unique and post your own shit. And if you're just doing the same thing everyone else is doing, it's like, what's the reason to follow you? So set yourself apart, think for yourself, I think is the key. But you instilled that in me early. Yes. But thank you again, DGen. I got to run and start up Ramble.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Subscribe to DGen's newsletter.
Thank you.
DGen on Underdog. Let's go, man.
I didn't share the Underdog quote because we're both Underdog people, so I feel like that would be weird.
Well, use DGen for the next 5 minutes, and then Ramble after.
That's right. You know what? All right, I'll let you guys go. You start up Ramble. I'll raid you. I'm going to put my Underdog game.
Awesome.
MJ Royal, thank you very much. Good luck today. And stay hot. I know you guys are having a great season. So
Ramble and those guys weekly to the top, man.
Yep.
Shout out you guys. Much
W's. All right, I'm gonna send everybody.
Bears. Sorry,
go Bears. Good luck today. No, you're good.
Right.
I'm gonna send you guys over to Ramble here shortly. On that note, though, I will post or put in my Underdog entry. Oh boy, do I have some things I like. I'm gonna have to trim this down now that I think about it. Here, let me give you the Underdog link. Great having those guys on, man. Good dudes, great conversation, good insights too. I think I saw somebody say it in the chat. They are sharp, and the community is sharp. Honestly, I think as a benefit from that. So we're seeing the results, which is great. It's been a pretty good start to the season. There's the Underdog link. If you want to sign up with that, you'll get a 50% deposit match, max $250. And let's see. While those guys get started for the next few minutes, I'm gonna put my play in. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to go Stroud. I'm going to go Stroud over yards. I'm going to go Dak over completions. I'm sorry, higher than completions. I'm going to go Amari Cooper higher than receiving yards. I'm going to go Rashad White getting in the fucking end zone. I'm going to go Kelsey higher than receiving yards. I'm going to go. Who else do I want? Oh, that's who I want. I want Hurts higher than rushing yards. What am I at there? 6 flex. That's good, right? 6 is probably good. Let me put, what's 25 pay on that? 625. Let's go a little bit ballsier than that. Let's go 30. Screw it. Let's do it. Vibes are high. Let's do 50 to pay out 1350. Accept all updates. Boom, boom, confirm. We're in there like swimwear. 50 pays 1312. If 5 get right instead of 6, I get 136 back. I like it. CJ higher. Dak higher. Amari, Rashad in the end zone. Kelsey, Jalen Hurts rushing yards. Yo, we had a ton of followers, new followers. Welcome. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for the newsletter subscribers. You guys are great. W. Greg and Steak for the sub banks. Everybody else that sub bank too. Larry, Beeman, Xander, Deej, Ramble gave out a few as well. We'll make sure to return the favor. Warren, I forgot TJ Warren. I'll do a touchdown parlay and post it later. Excuse me. I'm going to run to T Squared. Actually meet Greg and another buddy. Say what's up to Daniel over there. Great running I was almost calling the sportsbook manager, entertainment manager. I'm a big fan of the T Squared vibe, and the Jets watch party was awesome. No Jets game today. I'll be watching my Bucks Broncos for the 1:00 games, back home for the afternoon. You guys have a great day. Good luck on all your bets. I have to imagine Ramble is live now, right? So let me send you over there. Raid Ramble. Is it Ramble now? Raid Ramble now. Boom. All right. Join that raid. Join that raid, motherfuckers. Thank you again. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. We'll recap the games. Let's try to stay hot. All right. I'm very nervous. I want to keep momentum. I want to stay hot. We had a great Saturday. You always got to stay humble, though. Be prepared to get kicked in the dick. Good luck. I'll check you guys later. Peace.